Hi, welcome to Gyld Quarantine Edition. I am here alone in the studio. It's been over a month since we had folks here. So those of us who use a lot of maps and minis in our encounters face a common challenge. How do we prepare more than one encounter per session? Whether it's a one-shot or a long campaign, do you pre-draw your epic map on your main dry erase battle mat and then just theater of the mind everything else? Do you live draw everything, which for those of us who aren't really great at drawing in the first place is not ideal. Additionally, live drawing, I don't really include as many terrain elements as I'd like to and as much detail as I want to in my map. So it just takes up time in the session. It's not great anyway. Side encounters are hard to prepare. You've got little bits of the map taken up and erasing them, and do we really want to draw this one out? It might not be that big of a deal, and then the party does something insane and it becomes a big deal as the small little bar fight turns into a massive brawl throughout the town. And you're thinking, man, I wish I had a map prepared for this. So since we work in a design studio, we have access to a big office printer that we can abuse without getting fired. So what we ended up doing is printing out a bunch of these 1-inch grid papers on 1117 and using them to pre-draw encounters. So this, as you can see, is a warehouse that I used for a one-shot, and I had the warehouse and a few other side encounters pre-drawn, ready to go, and then I drew out my big final battle on the battle mat and had these kind of laid out upside down on top of it, and as we hit those encounters, I would flip them over. I had a couple more stock ones in my pocket in case the players went somewhere weird, and it worked out really well. The solution, however, wasn't ideal, primarily because most folks just don't have access to a big office printer that they can abuse without getting fired, and also because, if you can see, office printers won't print full bleed. So around here we have these margins, which means that if we had an encounter that wouldn't fit on 1117 paper, then you're gonna have to put a couple of these together and they're not gonna line up right because of this margin. And so even if you were going to Kinko's and getting a nice color copy made, you'd still run into that problem where it's not gonna be full bleed. So to solve that, we came up with a map pad. These are full color, full bleed pads, 25 sheets at 1117 size that gives you 55 by 85 feet at the 1-inch scale. And because they're printed all the way to the edge, you can line up multiple sheets on any side and they're gonna line up perfectly without having any overlap or cutting or folding to make your map work. Aesthetically, they're great because of the different terrains. We have 4 terrains to start. This is a generic parchment map terrain, which is good for everything, plus you can sketch out towns on there. There's a small dot matrix within the 1-inch grid so that you can plot larger scale things if you wanted to map out a town. We also have the stone dungeon / patio texture, so if you have a lot of sidewalk cafe encounters, this is great. And we have water and sort of a pasture grass. So anywhere you're at, your encounters can aesthetically fit. You can use these to pre-draw a ton of generic encounters, pre-draw your 3 main encounters, and then have the main battle mat for live drawing. It just gives you a ton of options when you're preparing for a session. Finally, we wanted to make these as economical as possible so that you didn't feel bad about sketching out maps and trying some things and experimenting and feeling bad about wasting disposable map sheets. Even if you only buy 1 pad at a time, you're still going to be spending less than 70 cents per sheet, which is less than you're going to pay if you went to Kinko's and had color copies made. And even then, at Kinko's, they wouldn't be full bleed or printed all the way to the edge, so you'd still have that margin problem. These are up on the store right now. We can't wait for you to get your hands on them, and please send us your pictures and stories and videos of you using these in your games. We're going to use them in our games, and we're really excited to do so, but what we really want to see is how GMs and players are using things in the real world. We want to see your drawings. We want to see your players enjoying the game. So enjoy. Hopefully we'll all be playing together soon. Hopefully you're getting some good online play in the meantime, and we'll see you shortly.